Hi guys, welcome to my channel. What I wanted to talk about today is possibly one of the most, if not the most, transformative things you can ever do in your life ever. Certainly it was for me. And that was about becoming a parent. And I suppose it's kind of a video I wish I'd seen when I became a parent. So that is what today is. You know, becoming a parent is probably one of the only jobs that you can kind of do in life where you don't need any experience, any qualifications. If you happen to get pregnant and you decide to, become a parent as a result of that pregnancy, then you become a parent. There's no test to check if you're ready. There's no formal qualifications. There is nothing. What there is, however, is in this country, in the UK, a lot of support during pregnancy. So you will see a midwife who will track your pregnancy, who will make sure that your baby is okay. You'll have your scans at the hospital. You might see a doctor at the hospital. You might see your GP at times. You will have friends that are obviously aware of your pregnancy. They will talk about their experiences during pregnancy and labour. They'll love to tell you those when you're pregnant. There are groups of women online who are on forums who try for babies together, get pregnant together, and then support each other through that. There's so many online forums generally for pregnancy and help and all that kind of stuff. And there are antenatal classes that you will have later on in your pregnancy that talk about, what's happening, the physical changes of your body, the emotional states of being pregnant, all of this information when you are pregnant. And you will also have to deal with your preconceptions, I suppose, about what life as a parent is going to be like, how you think you're going to parent, what you think you're going to do in certain situations. I remember when I was pregnant, I spent a lot of time just looking at other mums and seeing what they were doing, going, am I going to be like that? Am I going to do this? Would I do this instead? And kind of planning in my head for when this baby arrives and what I'm going to do. And you buy all of the stuff ready for when this baby arrives, the little outfits and, the bouncer that they go in and, the play mat that they're going to play on and all of these different things. You have your kind of plans around what's going to happen when you give birth. Are you going to give birth at hospital? Are you going to have a home birth? Are you going to have a doula? Are you going to have your partner there? Are you going to have your mum there? Are you going to have your sister there? Are you going, all of this information that you have to work through or that you tend to work through when you're pregnant. And then you have a baby. And as far as I know, in this country at least, there aren't any classes for you've just had a baby. There aren't postnatal classes. There are children's centres that run baby groups. There are midwives that will, after you've had the baby, check that you're okay, check that your baby is okay, check that you're feeding them okay, provide support if you need that. And you can stay in hospital for a period of time to have some support with certain things. But generally, you have a baby and you're on your own. And I say that you're not really on your own. There is support available. But there's a lot of support, a lot of information, and a lot of decision making that you go through when you're pregnant. And once this baby arrives, that's it for the rest of your life. You're a parent now. Your responsibilities change in an instant. And nobody really told me the weight that I would feel when I had a child. The responsibility towards that child I was nowhere near prepared for. And my children were both planned, and I thought that I was very ready to have a child. I thought that I was in the right mindset. Absolutely not. I don't think anybody is ever fully prepared for when you have a child and the impact that has on your life. And I suppose I wanted to be really open and honest about how things are not what you expect, because I think we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves as new mums and new dads, new parents generally, and then we feel really guilty, and there can be shame, and there can be lots and lots of very confusing feelings around that time. And I wish that somebody had told me that it was okay. And also the other thing that can happen a lot is before you have the baby, you are pregnant and you have this almost dream of what you think it's going to be like when you have a child. And I cannot tell you enough, it will not be like that. Like, regardless of how realistic that image is, it won't be like that. For me, I kind of just imagined myself as a parent, and it was like this glowing, nurturing, maternal woman. You know, you see all the mums on the adverts on telly, and they're, you know, breastfeeding their child, and it's, you know, beautiful, and everything's white, and all of the clothes are white, everything is white. And there is just this aura of love. And personally, I did not feel a rush of love when my baby was born. And I didn't know that that's quite normal. Like, quite a lot of women don't feel that. So when I didn't feel that, I thought there was something wrong with me. I loved her to pieces, but it wasn't like an all-encompassing knowing my purpose in life. It was like a, whoa, like this is my life now. And all of a sudden, in an instant, my life completely changed. And in a way that I don't think it's possible to prepare for. And please, if you think differently, let me know. Like, we will talk about this in the comments more. But it was just phenomenal in so many different and very polarizing ways. And there is absolutely no instruction manual whatsoever that comes with a child when you become a parent. And every single child is different. So, you know, I could parent, well, I'm sure I parented both of my children in very different ways, because they're different children with different needs that reacted differently to different things. Some things I kept completely the same, but in other ways, they both had a totally different experience. And every single child does with everyone that they come into contact with, because they're different children. Once you get through kind of seeing the midwife checking that everything is okay, that the baby is growing well, you go to kind of having your regular routines, your partner might go back to work, and you're kind of left to work things out for yourself. Historically, and this may be changing, please again let me know, but it's been the case that healthcare professionals have advised that you get support. You know, can your mum help you? Can your partner's mum help you? So basically, you're seeking advice from your parents and your partner's parents who have been parents themselves and have done it before. However, that's a very different upbringing that they would have put you through or your partner through. If you're looking at upbringing and stuff, developmental psychology-wise, you might not necessarily be modelling an idea that you want to reinforce. And personally, my mum was just like the perfect mum, as everybody thinks that their mum is. And there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. Like, my mum never told me how hard it was. Even when I was pregnant, she didn't tell me how difficult it was going to be. She kind of went, you know, you'll find out for yourself. And I did. So there is that. So there is the speak to your parents issue. Secondly, you can speak to other parents and you can ask for their advice on what they're doing. However, this is something that I think is changing. But when I first became a parent, so you're talking sort of 7 years ago now, there was so much mum guilt and so much mum shaming and so little support from other mums. And as far as I'm aware, that's still going on. So it's stuff where parents just go, insert name here, was walking by the time that they were 9 months old. Why is your child only sitting? You know, there is so much of that. And it's so easy to get caught up in this comparison thing. And we know that comparison, like literally comparison, will kill you if you keep comparing yourself to other people. But we compare our baby's progress to other babies all the time when you are a parent. It's constant. And that's why I stopped going to baby groups, because I couldn't cope with it. Because all I wanted was for a mum to turn around and go, yeah, this morning I'm on my 3rd change of clothes and even puked on this one and I just couldn't be bothered to change it again. I've had to put on 6 loads of washing and forgot to put them in the tumble dryer, so nothing is clean. And I had to get out of the house because he won't stop screaming unless I drive in the car. You know, that kind of stuff, that kind of really real, this is how hard it is, we're in this together, we should be supporting each other and high-fiving each other at every opportunity we possibly can, because this is really hard. That's what I wanted when I was a parent, is I wanted people to talk real with me. And yes, there were moments when my kids were ace. You know, there were moments where I just wanted to shout about them rolling over and them doing this and what they were doing here and all this kind of stuff. But there's always joyful moments and also really hard, tough ones. And I wanted people that I could talk about both with. And even now, when my children are obviously quite a bit older, you will still come across parents who only ever talk about how wonderful the kids are and love them to pieces. And there must be some moments where they are angry and upset and they want to chuck their kids out a window because they're so stressed. They never would, obviously, but I'm one of those people where I need real people. There are a lot of really difficult emotions to process when you become a parent. And I think that without having these very real anchors of real parents that talk about everything, they talk about the spectrum of parenting, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to feel comfortable. And with my first child, it took me a couple of years before I started to feel really comfy in how I parented. And that's the thing, is when you become a parent, nobody else has had your child. They may have had a child, but they haven't had your child. And nobody else will understand your child like you can. And there comes a point where you just have to chin off every bit of comparison or judgment or shame that other people are trying to cast on you. And you have to just breathe in, take a really deep breath, and realize that you have got this. And even if your biggest achievement of that day is that all you have done is change a baby's nappy, feed them, and hold on to a screaming baby all day, you have still survived a day with that baby. And you are kicking ass at parenting. And that one day that you got through will turn into 2 days, 3 days, a week, a month. Everything is a phase. And people used to say that when my kids were little and used to do my nutting. Everything's a phase. But they say it because it's true. Like, things will change. Your headspace will change. And you just have to trust that you know what's best. And you will get through it. And you will get through it together with your baby. Like, it is both of you that will work through this. And there are so many books on how best to parent, what best to do, even down to like weaning stuff. Like, there's so much information out there in terms of different styles of discipline and all this kind of stuff. And all I would say to all of that is that you know what's best for you and your child. You know, there are no classes. Maybe there should be. There should be more support. You know, there should be someone who can tell parents that every feeling that you feel is fine. And one thing that I know that this is quite a longer video than I anticipated, and I just wanted to round up on, one thing that really, really helped me is that somebody told me once that, you know, babies are programmed to love their caregivers. That's just part of it. But one thing that really hit home for me was that you could, you know, put a nappy on your kid's head instead of their bum. I used to accidentally spray milk in my baby's eyes when my letdown was insane. I would be there covered in sick, covered in milk, you know, on a sofa, having not moved for most of the day because my baby had just gone to sleep on me. Like, I have been at that point where I've just felt like nothing. And one thing that really helped me was knowing that despite all of that, despite being covered in all sorts of bodily fluids at times, despite not getting out of the house that day, despite not getting to baby group, despite not speaking to another human being some days, despite not dressing my baby in their cute outfit, despite them going to sleep in my bed because that was the only way that I can get them to sleep, or despite them sleeping on me, or despite not using the expensive activity mat, not being able to give them the organic food or home cooked food, and the only thing that they would eat is like crisps, you know, despite all of this stuff, my child still loved me, because all of that stuff it's all just pressure that we put on ourselves. And when you have a child, and there's no like perfect way to parent, so you just find your own, and your own is good enough. It really, really is. I can't stress that enough. And I just wanted to record this video because this is the type of video that I needed when I had just become a parent. So this is to the parents out there, whether you have had a child for 2 days or 2 years or 20 years, you know, you are enough, just as you are. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you in the next one.